Hello and welcome back to the Marketing Automation Implementation course. In this section of the tutorial, we're going to cover how to create and manage your knowledge base. So first we're going to start by learning how to create categories, translations, and articles. The first thing that we have to do before we can start using documentation is of course set up the domain on which our documentation will be hosted. In order to do that, we have to go to Settings, Main Settings, then Additional and Knowledge Base Settings. What you'll see is a little bit different from what I can see right now on the screen. This view is already scheduled to be a little bit transformed. Let's go through those fields and think, what do those mean? I'm now at docs.userengage.com just to show you how all of those settings might take effect in reality. The first field is a background, is this image that you can see right here. The second thing, the logo, is of course here. Now the third element is the subdomain. So you should include subdomain in case you don't want to host the documentation on your own domain. In such situation, we will create a subdomain called whatever you include here and then .userengage.com. So all you have to do is include this part and automatically our system will create a subdomain implementation_tutorial.userengage.com. So this will work after saving the changes. In case you want to use your own domain, you have to include it here, but as I said, some additional settings regarding this option will appear here in the future. Plus the full tutorial of connecting our documentation with your website can be found in our docs section in the written form. Now, the redirect URL is something that you will link to inside your documentation. Custom CSS and footer, of course, refer to the way this website looks like, and it is structured at the bottom, respectively. So this is it when it comes to the basic setup. Now we can move forward and start creating categories. Now, after connecting the app with your website, we're able to start by setting up categories inside our documentation. But what are categories and how are they visible to the user? I'm currently at docs.userengage.com. This is UserEngage documentation. And as you can see, the main screen includes a search and, well, list of categories. So each category can contain multiple articles, but the single article can also be in multiple categories. So let's move on to one of the categories. As you can see, it includes directly the articles, but categories can also include other categories. So you could create a struct. One category is a subcategory of another one. A great thing about this is that you can actually translate categories. So the name of the category can be included in different languages, actually any language you want. So now I'm going back to our app and I'm going to create a new category. Choosing the language is always the first question when creating new elements of the documentation, because we always want you to be able to create articles in different languages. So first, I'm going to create a category in English. So I'm just going to click Start. The title of the category will be My First Category. I will include a description. This is the description of my first category. And as you can see, I can select a parent category. But I don't have any other category yet, so this one has to stay alone. Now, the author, of course, is me. I can save and exit. And now I'm on the list of all my categories. Here's the first one. And here's a list of translation that I already have in my application. So whenever I include at least one category or article in a new language, this language will appear right here so that I know that I have articles in those languages. I'm now able to translate this category into other languages. So I'm just going to click Translate. As you can see, I cannot add another language, so I have to click Add New Language. So, well, maybe I'll choose Spanish, even though my Spanish isn't very well, so it might be risky for me. Right, let's translate. Now, as you can see, I'm updating my first category in Spanish. So I'll just write mi nueva categoría. I know I'm pretty sure I'm not spelling this right, but I guess you get the point. Sorry to all the Spanish visitors who have to watch this. So, esta es una descripción de esta categoría. Okay, and the author stays the same. Now I'm back on the list of all categories, and as you can see, I already have 2 languages here. So when I switch to Spanish, I see one language, I see one article. When I switch to English, I see one article. When I go to all, I still see one article. But this time, as you can see, it has 2 translations, and this is the primary language that I've chosen for this article. And now when someone using a browser in Spanish visits my page, that person will see the name of this category in Spanish. If they use any other language, they will see it in English. What else can we do? We can check how this element looks in the public setting. So I just click here, and as you can see, this is my first category. It's empty, there are no articles inside, so this is why it looks like this. But this is a simulation of how this would look like on your website. Alright, what else can I do? I can of course edit this category, so change the name and change the description of it. Another handy element of this view is that you can see how many views each category has, so the summed up views of all the articles inside and the average score that those articles receive. Of course, you can search this base and look for any category that you're looking for, but this is it. The category list isn't very complicated. Without any problem, we can move forward to articles. So, what are articles? Articles help you explain your services and products to your customers without having to write the same thing over and over again. So let's create your first article. As before, in case of categories, we have to choose a language for this article. So first we're going to write it in English. Let's start. For each article, I need to provide a title and intro. Let me show you how it looks on an actually working documentation. So this is the title of the article, and this is the small introduction. So the title will be the title of my first article, and intro, this is the intro of my first article. Now the status of the article. This could be either a draft, ready to publish, published, or archived. This helps you communicate within the team and manage the versions of each article. But for now, I'm going to leave it at draft. The author is of course me, but I can change it if that's necessary. And now categories. I only have one category, so I have to add it. But if I had multiple categories, I could add multiple at once. So each article can be in a few different categories. And now the content of the article. I can include any text, code snippet, or image, video, hyperlink, any crucial type of content inside. For now, I'll just leave it at content of my article and save this article. Alright, as you can see, it is already on my list of articles. It has this blue dot that indicates that it is a draft, which will make it a lot easier for other people in my team to find the ones that they have to proofread and publish. Now, other key elements of this table include the categories that this article is included in, the author, number of views and average score, and dates of creation and last update. As in case of categories, I'll also have the list of translations for which this article has been translated. As you can see, I have Spanish and English right here, even though I haven't translated this article for any other language. This is because categories and articles are in a way connected, so when I create a category in Spanish, the language is already here. On the top, I can filter my article by different attributes such as status, author, all categories. But I'm also able to translate or update the article. So let's translate the article. Of course, I need to say for which language do I want to translate it. I only have Spanish on this list, but if I want to translate it for any other language, I just need to click here to add a new language. So translate for Spanish. As you can see, I now have updating the title of my article in Spanish. So I will just change this. So title in Spanish. Right. So save and exit. And as you can see now, it has Spanish and English right here. So this is it when it comes to documentation. I would say that this section is pretty easy to use and you will have no problem starting to use all the features that it enables. Definitely the most complicated part is connecting the documentation in User Engage with your website.